Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now this is an interesting one. There's a new range of cartridges from Ortofon, and they don't actually replace anything. It is just purely to sit alongside another range. What I'm going to do is just going to quite quickly, I'm not going to talk about it too much, quickly turn the camera around, and what I want to do is have a look at the sort of progression of Ortofon cartridges really through time up to a point. I've only got a few, just to sort of show why this range has been produced, I think, just to sort of clarify it a little bit. Yeah, let's turn the camera around. Okay, so in the 80s we have Ortofon producing the VMS range. Now, I think these were in production from roughly 1980 to 1990. I mean, don't judge me on that. This is purely my guesswork, as usual. So VMS 10, 20, 30, different styles, profiles, that sort of thing. I never got on with these. I thought these were a bit aggressive, and I think this range single-handedly gave Ortofon the reputation of making bright cartridges, which is a bit of a shame really, because they've done some wonderful things, but a lot of people remember these as being just a little bit unrelenting really. Weirdly, they got really good reviews, and people bought them hand over fist because of the reviews, but no, I never quite got on with it really. Build-wise, quite shallow, which is relevant to what we're talking about. Horrible little open-ended holes for fitting, which trying to attach a cartridge when they've got open holes on there makes it so fiddly. So yeah, that's the VMS range. That was then replaced by, oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention is we've got a little stylus guard that's sort of integrated. I mentioned that for a reason. Then through the 1990s, again, I can't quite remember specifically when, but it's probably, yeah, I'd say probably certainly early 90s. We've got the 500 series, which I loved. I thought these were great. This one's a 540, but it's 510, 520, 530, 540. You could change the styli between the models in the range. You probably could do with a VMS, to be honest. I can't remember now. Integrated little stylus guard, which is nice because this doesn't sort of sit there resonating. When it's up, it actually locks into place like that. So it's a well thought through cartridge. Slightly taller. Now we're getting into relevant things here. Slightly taller than the VMS, but it's not particularly. You know, it's still within the realms of compatibility with things. Closed hole, so that's quite nice. But yeah, I always thought these very very clean, clear, interesting sounding cartridges. I probably recommended these on Regas over and above anything else during that period. I thought they were a better bet than Rega's own, even, which they were more refined and more dynamic than the Regas. So yeah, it was always a good choice. Really, I always liked these, particularly the 540, which was a bit of a pricey cartridge, to be honest, but it was always a good choice. Then that was shelved, and a new model came out. I must admit, I can't actually remember when these were actually introduced, but this is an Ortofon 2M. Now this is a range of cartridges. It's 2M red, 2M blue, bronze, black, and as you go up through the different colours in the range, you get a better profile tip, and there's slight changes to the body as well. And Ortofon have taken that sort of progression of models right through. All the moving coils are the same. They all have the red, rube, bronze, black sort of thing going on. And it's quite good because it's quite easy to identify models and things really. The big problem with this is, and I remember the guys from Ortofon UK being quite worried when this came out, is it's a big cartridge. It's a really big cartridge. And if you compare it to the old VMS face to face, we're looking at there's a good 4mm or so difference in height there. I mean, you can get away with a bit of fluctuation with cartridges. But really, when you start getting to 3 or 4mm, it starts to become a bit of an issue. I personally, and I've spoken about this on the channel before, I personally don't think it's as much of an issue as the internet thinks it is. I mean, the big one that people talk about is with Rega arms, because Regas don't have VTA, and it's an awful thing, people say. First, let's just talk about why Regas don't have VTA. They don't have VTA because if you have any sort of adjustment on a tone arm, it's going to degrade the sound. And the VTA adjustment is actually quite difficult to keep under control, because if you imagine there's various cartridges over the tone arms over the years that have had adjustment. You've got basically a column of the tone arm with a little grub screw that tightens against it, And to get VTA, you move the column up and tighten it down in a different place. And what you're effectively doing is almost altering the resonance of that, the actual arm pillar. So the tone arm itself hasn't got, it's very difficult to make it sort of dead and resonance free, because you've got components in there that are changing. And this is Roy Gandy's sort of reasoning for it. You want to create a rigid tone arm that you can control the resonances of, and you know you can actually put them in places where it's not as much of a problem. So the whole internet thing with the 2M was you can't put these on a Rega because you need to put about 3mm of spacers on them. I don't agree with that totally. I actually feel as though if you purely go by sound, I don't think the red and the blue are particularly affected in a Rega. They seem to sound fine to me. There doesn't seem to be any sort of degradation. They just look a bit weird because the tone arm sort of slopes uphill quite a bit when you fit one of these. When you get to the bronze and the black, then because of the profile of the diamond profile that they use, which are very, very accurate to the groove, then it becomes an issue. And I found with particularly the black, you start to get quite a lot of surface noise if you don't put spacers in. So where we're getting to with this is Ortofon, after years and years and years of myself and dealers and even the people who import Ortofon into the UK, saying these are too big, we need a new model that's more compatible. What they've done is quite interesting actually. What they've done is brought out another version of the 2M. And now this doesn't replace, as I said, the standard 2M, but now we've got the 2MR, which looks very similar. Until you start making comparisons. Because basically, if I can do this without dropping it, the 2MR is about 2 or 3 millimeters less deep. Is it about 3mm? Yeah, I'd say it's about 3 mil, because it's basically, look at the design of the 2M. This black part of the body here has gone on here. It's almost like the whole thing has been put onto a band sander and pared down by 3mm. And actually, interestingly, the styli of these are interchangeable. It's exactly the same style as, it's just the body's changed. So that's quite interesting, really. I mean, like I say, from my point of view, I never really thought it was a massive issue with the reds, particularly with the reds. It just doesn't sound any different. It just looks weird. But yeah, this is probably going to be a nicer. It's going to be a nicer fit. It's going to look like it's supposed to be there. So yeah, interesting one. And the price is the same. So you can go for it if you've got another turntable. You can go for whichever you want to. Particularly, it doesn't really matter. But the price is the same and the style are interchangeable. So I think it's quite a good move. I just don't understand why they didn't do it years ago, because I'm sure these have been out now for, I'm going to take a wild punt at this and say about 15 years. Must be something like that, really. And to take them that long to address the issue of them not really being sort of a happy marriage with Rega turntables, which are one of the best-selling turntables in the UK, is a bit odd, I think, really. But anyway, yeah. I do wonder, actually, because it says these are actually called 2MRs, whether the R stands for Rega. I mean, the actual importer's not saying that. They're saying it's the 2M reduced is what it stands for. But they're also the importers for Project Turntable, so they probably wouldn't want to sort of talk about Rega in the same breath, particularly. But anyway, that's the 2MR. So I've got them in stock. If you want one of these, just let me know. They're all coming through now, all available. It's taken about a week since they were announced for them actually to arrive. So there you go. Let's turn the camera around. Yeah, hope you like that. It's a bit. I get the impression that none of that was in focus, but we'll see. Because this camera just doesn't do close focus at all, really. If it's a disaster, I might try and use my SLR to do it, but then we'll have bad sound, so you can't win really. Yeah, like I say, in stock now. So if you're interested in 2MR, oh, and I put them on the website as well. I actually got on and put them on the website before I did the video, which is usually I'll do it the wrong way around and lag back at 2 weeks, so all the interest gone. But anyway. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a future video. Don't forget to give a subscribe and a like. See you soon. Thank you.